Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a great day so far. So today I am actually going to be addressing two things in this video. The internet broke because Trisha Paytas decided to hop on the internet on YouTube and share that she has dissociative identity disorder. Yeah, and then Chris decided to hop on his platform, The Rewired Soul, of course, and share why she doesn't have it and talk about borderline personality disorder again. So I haven't watched his video as of recording. I see that he has made a video about dissociative identity disorder. I haven't watched that at all, but I am going to assume he's going to talk about what that means. I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff in this video and try not to have it too long. So before we even get into all of that, if you are new here, welcome. This is Journey to Find Kay, and I'm Kay. I like to talk about mental health. I react to The Rewired Soul, but I also talk about other topics in society if I feel like we can learn a lesson about mental health and or substance abuse, because I'm a mental health patient, worker, and advocate, and I want to use my opinion and my experience to negate some of the things that we see here in society and on this platform. So if you enjoy my content, you enjoy watching me, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the bell so that way you're also notified every time I post a video. I do have a Patreon that you guys can check out at patreon.com/JourneyToFindK. I have different tiers, different perks that you get with each one. So don't be afraid to head over there and check out and sign up if you want to. But again, no pressure if you don't want to, because you're just watching my videos, you liking, commenting, subscribing, and support. And I appreciate y'all so much just for that. So it's our first upload of the week. So you guys already know what that means. It is our mental health check-in. I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. How are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling right now? A lot is going on across this world with this pandemic that's going on. People are missing work. Kids are out of school. I know people are stressing. So I want to hear, how are you guys handling? What are you guys doing to cope right now? What is giving you joy? What is helping you stay calm? Me personally, I am doing okay. I live in a heightened state of anxiety, usually about a 5 out of 10 if we do it on a 10 scale, because I understand that I do have some privilege. I'm able to work from home, flex my schedule whenever I want to, as it is already. And so that allows me not to really be too, hit too hard with the kids being out of school for the next 2-3 weeks or however long they are out. But I want to hear from you guys. How are you guys feeling? What are you guys doing to cope? Who are you talking to? Share what you guys feel comfortable with sharing, but let me know down below in the comments. So let's just get on into this video, because I don't want it to be too long. I don't know what Chris is going to say in his reaction, but let's just get Trisha Paytas out of the way. I don't like her. And I always want people to understand on my platform that I am very big at practicing what I preach. Just because I do not like Trisha Paytas, if she genuinely has mental health concerns that she needs to take care of or is taking care of and lives with, then my heart goes out to her on that end. But when it comes to you just throwing out diagnoses to get attention, which is what I feel, in my opinion, Trisha Paytas does, I don't have time for you. And part of me did not want to make a video about her. I wasn't really interested in even reacting in Chris's video, but I did put a poll up on my Patreon that I did make public for everyone, just kind of asking if I should touch upon the topic, and it was said yes, I should touch upon the topic. But one of the main reasons that made me want to actually ask that question to see if I should have this conversation is because I have a family member, a parent, who has dissociative identity disorder, DID, which was used to be known as multiple personality disorder. I have a parent who is diagnosed with that disorder. And to see someone who has such a following like Trisha Paytas, who I personally believe is trash, okay? Might not be professional, I really don't care. I personally feel that she is trash. The persona that she puts online is trash, okay? And to see someone who has such a big following do this and understand the backlash that you are going to get that continues to further stigmatize a mental illness, I can't sit back and be quiet, because of the fact that this parent is one of the reasons why I work in this field, is one of the reasons why I decided to get into mental health, is one of the reasons why I decided to really take care of my own mental health. And that diagnosis was an eye-opener for me when I got older to truly understand what I had witnessed, what I had seen. I had actually witnessed my parent switch personalities in front of me. I watched and understood how important it was for that parent to take their medications, for that parent to continue their treatment. It's already a diagnosis that is so stigmatized. I mean, mental health in general is stigmatized. But when we're talking about dissociative identity disorder, which used to be known as multiple personality disorder, this is another diagnosis that people automatically link a negative connotation to. You're crazy. So for someone who has such a big platform, use this diagnosis. I can't sit back. So for someone who has such a big platform, use this diagnosis as a way to garner attention, as a way to maybe get sympathy, to get your views up, to get some more coin in your pocket. It bothered me and it didn't feel right to me. And I couldn't sit here and just not say anything. As a child, as someone whose parent has this diagnosis, I watched this parent switch personalities and didn't understand. I will never forget the day when I spoke to my other parent about it. And for my other parent to have that experience and say, oh my goodness, I thought that person was faking. It's something that stuck with me. It stuck with me all my life and was one of the reasons that I decided to work in mental health. One of the main reasons, because that was something I wanted to understand and it didn't sit well with me, the negative, how it was perceived. And so for me to have a parent and for me to witness this person that I love, to watch them have different personalities who didn't know who I was. Some did, some didn't. So I can't sit here and be quiet when someone who has a following like Trisha Paytas does and ignore. So this is the only part that she's going to get. What she did was trash. Might not be professional, but that's how I feel in my heart. Because as someone who takes this so seriously, as a mental health patient, worker, and advocate myself, the damage that can come from her doing that, the stigma that continues to get pushed, the judgments that can continue to be thought or said. We have a mental health crisis as it is. People still brush off mental health like it's something as an afterthought. But you get on this platform with your millions of followers and troll using a mental health diagnosis that is a serious diagnosis.
I've seen it.
It's not a joke. It is believed to stem from trauma. Do you understand? That was someone's coping skill from some type of trauma. And you get on this platform and pretend to have it, to get views, to make money. Trash. That's all the energy I'm going to give to Trisha Paytas individually. That's all the energy, because it's giving her the attention she wants. So now we have the rewired soul, Chris. He loves to talk about Trisha Paytas. He loves to talk about borderline personality disorder. He loves to talk about Trisha Paytas and borderline personality disorder. And Trisha just decided to say, hey, I need some more attention, and gave him some more content. And he decided to throw another diagnosis that is stigmatized and judged, and because, you know, he's educating. And I apologize, guys. I'm already a little wired. I'm a little wired. But let's just see what he has to say in this video. Let's just get into this reaction.
The dissociative identity disorder community already hasn't hard enough. As many of you saw if you watched Anthony Padilla's video with people like dissociative DID.
Sure, I get semi-decent.
But Trisha Paytas doesn't really care about that. And right now, she has offended yet another entire community. But here's the thing. If more people understood borderline personality disorder, what Trisha Paytas does would make a lot more sense.
I'm so tired of him in this. It feels like he has an issue with borderline personality disorder.
What's up, everybody? This is Chris from The Rewired Soul, where we talk about the problem, but focus on the solution. And if you're new to my channel is all about mental health. I've been trying to put more commentary stuff on the second channel, but I felt like this deserved a main channel.
I'm gonna check out that second.
Anyways, if you're into that stuff, make sure you subscribe.
I'm gonna check out that second channel soon.
So,
yeah, can't even talk.
This is a brand new video. Meet My Alters, Dissociative Identity Disorder. Many of you have seen these types of videos, like Switch Column Camera. The channel Dissociative DID has a ton of subscribers and things like that. But anyways, like this, I feel like I finally kind of understand what the entire LGBTQ community was so upset about. Like, I knew what she did was very...
You should have been upset then. You should have understood then. Like, what are you saying? You should have understood then. Like,
that's what the son when he came out as a trans man, a gay man trapped in a woman's body who doesn't feel like
I now understand. You should have
like,
understood
we'll
that.
discuss in a second.
That was trash too.
Borderline personality disorder. It makes sense. Anyways, although I do not have dissociative identity disorder, I am somebody in the mental health community, right? And this is offensive. This, I can imagine, and I've already seen some of the backlash in the comments. People from the DID community are highly offended by this. But aside from that, borderline personality disorder has a massive stigma around it. A massive stigma around it.
That you continue.
And Trisha Paytas, being such a public figure, she is making that community look bad as well.
That she continues as well.
How do we know she has borderline personality disorder? Well, for those of you who haven't met me, no, I am not a licensed therapist. I am not a licensed psychologist. I am just somebody who is a nerd when it comes to mental health. I worked in rehab for a few years. We did dual diagnosis, addiction, as well as mental health disorders, all right? And many people with borderline personality disorder have substance abuse disorders as well. So I have literally worked with thousands of people who have borderline personality disorder.
I just gotta stop it right there. I just gotta stop it right there. First of all, I need people who do identify with the borderline personality disorder community and the DID community. I understand your outrage, but please do not feel that, especially the borderline personality disorder community, do not feel that she represents you guys, because those who truly understand and those who are trying to educate ourselves and get it, we get it. We understand that this is not okay, and this is not what is a true reflection of someone who may have borderline personality disorder. I'm sorry. I know that there's been so much talk about her saying she has it, she doesn't have it. Chris loves to hop on any type of Trisha Paytas train, especially when it comes to her talking about mental health, because he'll swear to God that she has borderline personality disorder. I don't like him talking about it because I've read too many of his blogs, I've seen too many of his videos. He self-diagnosed himself in the past. He has an issue when it comes to borderline personality disorder, and it comes across negatively. He always associates it with Trisha Paytas as much as he can, which she has one of the biggest negative reputations on this platform, in my opinion. So him talking about this, him sharing, oh, this is borderline personality disorder symptoms, to me is him continuing the stigma as well, because it's already judged when you have borderline personality disorder. We live in a time where mental health is just barely really being taken seriously. People are feeling open enough to talk about it, to try to break this stigma, and you have people like him in his own way and Trisha Paytas who sit here and are continuing these negative judgments, or who are continuing these negative stigmas, these negative connotations that are related to certain disorders, diagnoses, and I don't like it. And with him trying to, this is why I wanted to talk about this video, this is why I wanted to react to this video, because again, this is him, to me, in my own personal opinion, continuing a negative stereotype, a negative stigma when it comes to borderline personality disorder, which he consistently always does. He never associates borderline personality disorder to anything positive. It's always negative. Oh, there's such a stigma about borderline personality disorder, and you continue it. You continue it.
And
just as bad as she
is. I want to
is.
discuss this because, first off,
maybe even more because you tout your experience. You share you've worked in this field. I have a very similar experience to him. I just continue to work in this field. I've continued and plan on continuing to work in the mental health field. So I'm not going to sit here and swear to God that every person I've worked with who had borderline personality disorder had substance abuse problems, because that wasn't the case. I didn't work with thousands of them in all these years that I've worked with my clients. Like, I'm not going to do that because, again, to me, that feels very negative. That feels to me like you are continuing the stigma in a backhanded way, in a way that you might not even realize that you're doing it, but to me it's trash.
There's nothing wrong with having borderline personality disorder.
There's not.
It's a difficult disorder. Part of the stigma around it is people with BPD can sometimes be difficult to have a relationship with.
You've helped push that stigma in your blogs, in your videos.
But also it's very hard on them because a lot of them are working hard to manage their borderline personality disorder, all right? But, like I said, Trisha Paytas is a very public figure, and this hurts that community. So before we dive into this, I'm going to break down her video with a few clips. Like, you need to understand borderline personality disorder if you want to understand why Trisha Paytas behaves the way she does. I am a huge believer that if you understand different forms of mental illness. It will help you empathize with those people, right? And while not giving them a pass or giving them an excuse.
Who are actually diagnosed with that disorder. It will help you empathize with people who are actually diagnosed with that disorder. I don't watch Trisha Paytas. I've made it very clear I don't like what she does when it comes to mental health. I'm sorry. When it comes to her, I stay away. I stay away from her. Does she really have borderline personality disorder? Is this something that we really believe she has? And I will always be the first one to say that no matter what, if I like you or not, I will always empathize with anyone living with mental health concerns. I will always empathize with anyone who has mental illness, who is taking care of their mental health. But I won't sit back and allow you to sit here and stigmatize it any further, to continue negative judgments, negative connotations related to these diagnoses, especially when they're already so stigmatized as they are. Yes, mental health is stigmatized, but we have specific diagnoses that are still continue to be stigmatized in society as someone just faking it or being crazy or whatever the excuse that people use to just cast it away, these real concerns, these real things that people are dealing with. And I'm tired of it. He does it when he talks about Trisha Paytas and borderline personality disorder, how he's consistently talking about negative things when it comes to borderline personality disorder. Even if it doesn't include Trisha Paytas, I'm tired. Let's just keep going.
For their behavior, it makes more sense why they do what they do. So real quick, I'm going to run through the 9 symptoms of borderline personality disorder.
Here we go.
Both me and you cannot diagnose Trisha Paytas, but in this video that she made on World Mental Health Day, she clearly stated that she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, which is much different than what she's doing right now, which is saying she's self-diagnosed.
But do we believe her?
All right, number 1, fear of abandonment. It is an intense fear. This is often why.
But do we believe her? That's my thing. Do we believe her? She's done this before. He used the situation of her coming out as trans prior as an example of people not believing her then. Do we believe her when it comes to her mental health concerns? Or is this something that she's just trolling? Are these true diagnoses for her? Because for us to really understand, it's great to have this knowledge, to understand these mental health, these different diagnoses, to understand what the symptoms might look like for them. But we can't sit here and self-diagnose anyone. And if that person doesn't have that actual diagnosis, that understanding is kind of a moot point. To me, anyway, my opinion.
It's very difficult for people with BPD to maintain relationships, all right? They're so afraid that somebody will leave them that sometimes it turns into a self-fulfilling prophecy where they push that other person away, all right? Next one, unstable relationships, okay? Number 3,
honestly,
fear or shifting self-image. I want you to focus on this symptom, okay? One of the main symptoms of borderline personality disorder is this one.
And a lot of the symptoms, when it comes to mental health, we need to not look at it as so cookie cutter. A lot of these symptoms, I guess we could say, kind of cross-pollinate between different diagnoses. So just because he's naming this and this that could fit Trisha Paytas doesn't mean that that's her actual diagnosis. Unless we are truly believing her being borderline personality disorder, which I know a lot of people are questioning that. If we really believe that, then okay, then yes, cool. And that doesn't take away the fact that a lot of these symptoms could be other diagnoses out there as well. And he is always so quick to just push borderline personality on her.
Sense of self. Most people.
I want you guys to let me know below. Do you believe she really has it?
Our personality, our identity is.
What does your gut say?
Most people who struggle with BPD experience trauma at a very young age, and oftentimes had an emotional or verbally abusive relationship with one or both parents. Sometimes it was repeated trauma. That is why sometimes people are diagnosed with CPTSD instead of BPD. But anyways, an unstable sense of self, all right? Impulsive, self-destructive behaviors. Another symptom, self-harm. Another one, extreme emotional swings.
Again, multiple diagnoses, you guys. This is why it's such a problem. This is why it's a problem, him always sitting here and doing this. Because he doesn't put this disclaimer of that this could be other diagnoses as well that could fit some of this criteria. You have to meet a certain number of criteria to be given a diagnosis. And a lot of the symptoms that are listed for mental health diagnoses fit different ones. They fit different ones, and he needs to explain that because there's too many people I'm seeing out here that are taking his word as gold and swearing to goodness that he is really saying this woman has borderline personality disorder. I saw someone say, he said that she has borderline personality disorder, that's why she's acting this way. He is not a therapist. Like he said, you guys, let's pay attention to this. If we go off of her word, okay. But that is again shaky because we know her patterns of behavior. She could have that, but with her history of self-diagnosis, it could be other things. And I'm going to share that with you guys, that it could be other things. Her negative behavior does not automatically mean that she fits these symptoms of borderline personality disorder. It could be a lot of different diagnoses, you guys. And that's my biggest problem with him, is that it feels like he has such an issue with borderline personality disorder. It feels like he either wants to have it or I don't know what it is. But when it comes to Trisha Paytas, he is so quick to throw that diagnosis at her. And just the fact that she sat there and said that she had it 5 months ago, that's fuel to a fire. She knew what she was doing. And this is why it's so questionable whether or not she truly does have borderline personality disorder. Because this woman knows what she does. She knows how to troll and to get this attention. She knows the topics to use. She uses topics that people are going to believe. Things that people aren't really going to try to question. But because she's done it so much and people are understanding her patterns of behavior, she gets called out for it, but it still gives her the attention she wants. And she literally gave this man fuel to start his video and push again his narrative that she has borderline personality disorder, which goes out to all these people who don't like Trisha Paytas, who see her behaviors as negative and can use it to continue the stigmatization of borderline personality disorder. Well, she's continuing the negative stigma that goes with dissociative identity disorder. You both are trash. You both are doing the same thing. You're doing it under the guise of education and she's doing it just to make money.
Massive shifts in moods, right? Rather than your mood going from staying between a 1 and a 5.
This is so many diagnoses that could fit this.
It's not just happy, it is just ecstatic. It's not just liking somebody, it's falling in love with somebody. It's not just getting a little bit upset.
There's different personality disorders. It's like he just focuses on this one.
Furious, okay? Next, chronic feelings of emptiness. This can also be associated with the lack of sense of self. Explosive anger.
Both of them stigmatize mental health.
Are a little bit different than what the DSM says. And also feeling suspicious or out of touch with reality. So I do want to make it clear. It is very common for people with borderline personality disorder to dissociate, okay? But just because you dissociate doesn't mean dissociative identity disorder. That is completely different, okay? So now let's turn to some clips.
Unfortunately for me, Trish, I never really formed my own personality.
So right there, that clip
well,
right
she
there,
don't know what she's talking about.
Is not dissociative identity disorder.
She don't know what she's talking about.
Personality disorder.
I watched a lot of videos on this recently.
And it makes me so mad because
so
I get mad at him and I get mad at her because both of these disorders, he likes to talk about, well, they might have been through trauma. So is people with DID, like I said earlier in this video. You guys are playing off of people who use, I'm so bad. Like, you guys are sitting here playing with mental health diagnoses. People with this diagnosis, for many of them, this was a way for them to cope with the trauma they were dealing with in their lives. And yet, you're continuing negative stigma that is attached to this. Trisha, by your pretending, and Chris, by you continually to attach it to negative things, to negative feelings, to negative situations as education.
Common, very, very common.
Pushing it on people all the time.
Or lack of sense of self. It is very common for somebody with borderline personality disorder to, for example, hang out with certain people, right, and adopt that identity. This is sometimes thought of as being like a social chameleon, right? I don't know who I am, so I will adopt this identity, and that helps keep that sense of self stable. So when she says, I was watching a lot of videos about dissociative identity disorder, it is easier for somebody with BPD to start identifying with that, and then get that kind of stable sense of self, like, oh, I am one of these people. This is my group. This is where I belong, right? I would argue, this is just my opinion, I would argue that this is something similar that happened when she came out as trans, all right? It was an identity that she could latch on to.
Sometimes, and it's, like I said, it's like I can't just sit down now and be like, all right, guys, come to the center, I think that is just more evident by just looking at different videos. And so many people will joke in the comments like, but Trisha, we get it today. In actuality, you are getting different personalities inside of Trish.
Right there, she's talking about how some people are like, which identities in this video, which identities in this video, okay? This is two of those symptoms that you're seeing come to fruition of borderline personality disorder: an unstable sense of self and emotional regulation issues, all right? When these two things are happening, or one of these two things is happening, you don't know what the person's going to behave like, all right? Like working at the treatment center, working with people who have borderline personality disorder, you did not know how they were going to be from day to day. A good example of this is if you watch a relationship with Jason Nash and all of the vlogs that they did.
Like literally working at a treatment center, a lot of my clients, I didn't know how they were going to be day to day because they had a lot of stuff that they were dealing with. A lot of them were coming off of whatever substance that they were abusing. A lot of them might have had mental health concerns they needed to take care of. They might not have been stable on their medications. They might have had a horrible life. They might have left their family behind. They might have had a horrible home life they were leaving. They might have felt some type of guilt. That doesn't mean I can't. This man will try to find any way to justify some type of negativity to borderline person. It just comes across negative to me, you guys. And I want to hear from you. Do you feel this way? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Let me know in the comments. But I personally feel like he's consistently always pushing a negative narrative when it comes to borderline personality disorder. I've worked with plenty of people who do have borderline personality disorder, and I'm not going to claim that I've worked with thousands in my years in this field, but I've worked with plenty of them who didn't behave as negative as the way as he always puts it out to be. They didn't behave this way. In treatment, I could expect them to behave like any other client. Why? Because they were in treatment and they were learning and they were getting better, but there was so many other factors that come into play. And again, there's so many other factors that come into borderline personality disorder that we need to always be cognizant of. So to me, it's so annoying how quick we are to jump to, oh, someone's acting negatively or in a way that we don't like. They have borderline personality disorder. We're blaming it on that. And that's what it feels like, is we're blaming it on that. It doesn't feel positive. This doesn't feel like educating. This feels like saying, hey, she did a trash behavior because of these trash symptoms. Every time he positions his statements when it comes to borderline personality disorder, it consistently is somehow, hey, this negative thing is because they have borderline personality, and it helps you understand. You've written too many blogs telling people that they're hard to love. You've written the way you say things, and you should know better. This man should know better.
You could see how Jason struggled in that relationship because he didn't know, all right? Like, one of the most famous clips was this one.
He just feels so justified right now. This man has been waiting for a Trisha Paytas moment where he could talk about borderline personality disorder.
All right, back to her video.
Like, I watched it and I was like, oh, like, she seems crazy, but I know that's like what I sound like now, which is actually like really scary. But I'm just trying to explain. Again, this is pretty much self-diagnosed, but it's something that I definitely have distinct names for all my personalities. And
listen to the words coming out of my mouth. Don't self-diagnose. Okay?
Oh, at least he's saying that now.
Videos on mental health, mental illnesses.
At least he's saying that now, because we know he's done that in the past.
Self-diagnose, that is the worst thing that you could ever do. All right? It's like trying to self-diagnose a physical illness. The problem is that there are specific treatments for specific mental illnesses.
But you consistently, but him consistently pushing borderline personality disorder on Trisha Paytas, to me, feels like a form of self-diagnosis, because he is not her. Like, I just don't trust her. I don't trust her. If she's truly diagnosed with that, if that's her true diagnosis, then okay, educate, cool. But him constantly trying to find ways to justify his diagnosing of her early on in his career on YouTube of borderline personality disorder, no, it still feels to me like you're self-diagnosing her. You're, like you said, you're not a therapist, you're not a psychiatrist. You don't really know what her diagnosis is, but yet any little chance he gets, her actions is because she's borderline personality.
Might be wasting time on something that isn't going to work for you, and this can then lead to an idea that no form of therapy can help you. All right, there are a million different reasons why you don't self-diagnose, but in this instance, one of the main reasons is that you piss off an entire community. All right, much like she did.
One of the main instances.
One of the things that I feel makes people so frustrated is that when Trisha Paytas does these things, they're unfalsifiable. What does that mean? You cannot disprove what she is.
I just said that.
Okay? There is no scientific.
It's things that we're going to believe. We're going to believe you. Give you the benefit of a doubt.
As a man. There's no scientific test that you can do to prove that she does not have dissociative identity disorder, okay? And this is one of the
And that's what makes the whole situation much more trash.
Right, is because people will often say, oh, you're faking it. You're faking it, right? And when we're doing these antics,
I love that he says this, but he does stuff that continues to push that narrative. He just made a video talking about, are we addicted to depression? Knowing that played off of two things that people talk about when it comes to addiction and mental health. That you are addicted because you want to be, and mental health is in your head. You're choosing to act that way. This man does this himself all the time. Like, I can't. These
actions that can kind of exploit mental health issues, all it does is feed that stigma, okay? But like I said, I believe so many people get frustrated because there's no way to disprove what she's saying. If you remember back when the whole trans thing was going on, she would get on camera and cry and say, like, you can't tell me how I feel. You can't tell me what I think. And while that's very true, it upsets a lot of people because there's this dissonance where you know, like, yeah, I can't tell you what you think or feel or what's going on in your mind. But on the other hand, I know that you're full of crap.
There you go. I mean? So do we really believe her?
I call it bipolar, borderline, but it's really disorder, I guess.
Yeah, she acknowledges the diagnosis that she had from a mental health professional. She talks about how she has borderline personality disorder, but
we're going to skip over the bipolar? We're just going to skip over that? What? We're going to skip that part? That's important, people. Because again, we have people say, oh, he said she's diagnosed borderline personality disorder. She also stated, though, right here that he skipped over bipolar. That's important. That is important because they play, they mesh. That's something I even had to learn in my own therapy. I have bipolar disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and ADHD. All three of those together, they play off of each other very big. And a few of those symptoms cross over into each other as well. And that is why it's important for you to go see a professional, to speak with a professional about what is going on with you. So that way you are getting the correct treatment, because her stating right there is important. Her stating that she has bipolar, or how she said it, you might call it bipolar, borderline. She's saying those things for a reason. So she could have bipolar disorder and borderline personality. And that is something that is important to note, because that person's going to need treatment differently than someone who may just have borderline personality disorder or someone who might just have bipolar disorder. It's important to go to your professional so you get the right treatment, so you have the as close as correct diagnosis that you can get, because we're not perfect. People make mistakes. It could change over time. We don't know. But that's why it's important. But we cannot just skip over diagnoses either. We can't just focus on the ones we really care about the most.
It's dissociative identity disorder. That is not how it works.
I can't with this man.
And getting diagnosed with, I don't know, some kind of physical illness, like maybe a flu, and you're like, no, it's cancer. They say it's a flu. I think it's cancer. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that. Now, if she went through the necessary steps,
and you can't ignore diagnosis because it doesn't fit your narrative.
A lot of people.
And it's just that, like, loving is like the hardest is to find someone to love through the dissociation, love through the switches.
So this last clip, she talks about wanting to be in a relationship and be with somebody who can handle her through her switches. And if you watch Anthony Padilla's video, that's something that comes up with each of the guests he had on there. It can be difficult to find people who are going to be there with you through it, right? It's the exact same thing with borderline.
And he hasn't made it easier.
But again,
this man has done it too. They're hard to love. Always negative.
Go in and out of therapy. All right. Last year, I was super proud of her. She said she finally found a therapist that she really liked. It seemed like she was going to therapy quite often. Then that fell off. All right. But anyways, you need to treat the right thing.
Did it fall off?
If anybody out there is watching this, if anybody out there knows
I don't trust her.
Disorder,
I don't think she gives us the truth.
For borderline personality disorder is dialectical behavioral therapy. Okay?
Or CBT.
So, one of those symptoms,
or whatever your therapist thinks might be the best way to help you.
Can help with that. It can also help with the other major issue, which is emotional regulation. Dialectical behavioral therapy is the best therapy for borderline personality disorder, but there are also other therapies that can help, like cognitive behavioral therapy. Again,
sponsored.
People with borderline personality disorder.
I can't. I hate that he says that. I don't believe you.
See the most success and the best results. All right. But anyways, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm a glasses half full, kind of optimistic guy. I do hope that Trisha Paytas isn't purposely doing this to offend people. There is a narrative out there that when she's not getting views or when she wants to stir stuff up and get pushed into the limelight again, she finds a way to really tick off an entire community. And I am hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping that this is her symptoms coming to light, but at the end of the day, our mental health is our responsibility, and if we're pissing people off, it is our job to go get help, go to therapy, seek treatment, whatever we have to do. People don't have to sit there and put up with our stuff, but if this is something that offends you, if you've been watching Trisha Paytas for years now and she is constantly offending you, hit the unsubscribe button. All right? But anyways, that's all I got for this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up.
So yeah, you guys, I can say I'm not disappointed. He did exactly what I thought he was going to do, and this is why I reacted to it. I felt like I really was going to kill two birds with one stone, and I did. I've already said why I'm not giving Trisha Paytas any attention. My issue with Chris in this whole video, as you guys saw in my reaction, is the fact that he is so stuck on borderline personality disorder. He doesn't understand that every time he talks about it, every time he is continually to try to stick this and plaster it onto Trisha Paytas, he is continuing the negative stigma attached to borderline personality as well. He might not be conscious to it. He might really believe that he's educating people, but I feel that he is continuing to push the judgments that people have about borderline personality disorder, the way people look at people with borderline personality disorder in a negative way, because you are attaching it with someone who is always consistently on this platform being talked about negatively, playing with mental health, playing with people in general, the topics that she talks about on her platform. And you consistently attaching, well, this is why, if we understand, this is why, that's why she behaves this way. People are eventually, I would not be surprised if people are really going to sit here and think that they wouldn't want to date someone with borderline personality disorder because they behave like Trisha Paytas. You always talk about her relationship that we all know, or at least in my opinion, we thought was toxic relationship. You always use that as an example of what a relationship would look like with someone with borderline personality disorder. And I really feel that he has an issue with borderline personality disorder. I don't know if it's because he really does have the diagnoses. I don't know if it's because maybe at work he got burned by someone who, you know, has borderline personality disorder. I don't know if he knew someone personally who has borderline personality disorder, maybe an ex-girlfriend, somebody hurt him who has borderline personality disorder for him to continue this narrative. Because in my own opinion, I feel that she continued the stigma against mental health and DID, and he continued the stigma against borderline personality disorder in his way of trying to explain her behavior. When in all actuality, I feel that yes, maybe she has mental health concerns, maybe she has some problems, but I feel that doesn't come down to borderline personality disorder. That doesn't come down to any mental health diagnosis that she has. It comes down to who she is as a person, period. And I'm tired of him always trying to find any way he can to say, oh, it's borderline, it's borderline, it's borderline, it's borderline, it's borderline. Because to me, that feels stigmatizing and that feels judgmental. And I feel that a lot of people walk away with negative feelings towards people with borderline personality disorder watching your video, because you dang on sure don't explain to nobody that a lot of these symptoms you're listing when it comes to borderline personality disorder can fit a lot of other diagnoses, and you sure did skip over the fact that she shared bipolar as well, right? But whatever, I digress. This is where I want to hear from you guys down below. I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this whole situation. How did you guys feel? What did you think of Trisha Paytas? What did you think of his explanation of what's going on? I want to know your thoughts and opinions. If you made it this far though and you haven't subscribed, don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that bell so that way you're also notified every time I post a video. Check me out at patreon.com, Journey to Find K, to see the different tiers and different perks that you guys get along with everything. I thank you again so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, watching my videos. I appreciate you guys so much. I want to hear from y'all. Hit me up on social media at Journey to Find K. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.